So I'm happy to be here, and it's such a blessing to be around powerful, young, wonderful, intelligent folks like you and every other person on this powerful talk. I can see Geraldine. I can see Oyidamola Aride. Aride, hi. I can see
Hi.
great. I can see Elijah. I can see Regis Uzoma. That's my mentor. I can see
Hi,
Fidelis. Hi,
Regis.
Fidelis. Great. I can see Biose Falade, my second mentor. I can see Uwagu Uche. Uwagu Uche, I see you. I greet you. I greet you, Jesu Tomi Lawal. Wasiu Kodri. I see Wasiu. Wasiu is a great man. My guy from TFN days. I see Abdullahi Bukola, and I see Dami and Victor Abians. So I just want to welcome everybody to this wonderful platform. Thank you for joining me. I'm not going to take much of our time today. Today, I'm so happy because I have the opportunity to share one or two thoughts with you all. As you know, the theme for the talk is basically rejuvenation or reinvention, rather. I'm always thinking about rejuvenation. So, so I thought about how best to share, my ideas around this. And I know that there are many things that comes to mind whenever we think about, the idea of reinvention, especially when we think about the fact that COVID is a reality today. And so many people are going through a whole lot, and there is confusion in the land, there's uncertainties, people are not sure of what to expect next, people are not sure of where the next source of income is going to come from, people are losing their jobs, the world really is in chaos right now. And so I felt like it was a very good thing to talk about the leader's mindset and how best to access the right international opportunity, especially in times like this. And I know that this is a very, very daring topic because to a very large extent, people are like, people don't see the possibility of this happening. But today I would be very happy to tell you that these things are very possible. And if you're just willing to key into the right frameworks, the right environments, you are very much likely going to be one of those who will benefit from this crisis. And as they always say, it is a moment of crisis that you see great leaders. It is a moment of crisis you see great opportunities. It is a moment of crisis that we see great rewards. So it's such a pleasure to, to share one or two thoughts with you on this. So I will start right away by saying first and foremost that we want to do the Don't Leave Me challenge. How many of us know the Don't Leave Me challenge? Just say hi on the chat box.
I'm not sure I do.
Wow. Oindamola, I think we have to reinvent you. Who else? Who else knows anything about the Don't Leave Me challenge?
Maybe you tell us what it is. Maybe we have come across it.
I think I do. That you have two words, then you join them together, like chalk and board, chalkboard.
Exactly. So we're going to spark some creativity right now, okay? And I would please ask the host, which is Grace, to please allow people to come up with their stuff. But the Don't Leave Me challenge is simple. You come up with two random words and you make a sense from it. And, of course, we know that it was like a social media trend, so I want us to just think about two random words, right? And connect them and make a word from it. For instance, well, I think I said this in one of my skits then that I did. So I said, and it was really crazy. People didn't believe that I could actually come up with such crazy idea. So I said, if your boo is a bae, does that make her a bube? And people are like, oh my God, don't leave me, wise one. So I want to see how creative we are with words and just come up with stuff. And let's see how we're going to take it up from this. So this is going to spark our creativity. So anyone who's interested to volunteer should just indicate by raising up the hand. I think the host will allow you come up with yours. The floor is open. People are shy. Don't worry, we don't have to see your face. Just unmute yourself and just come up with the idea. It's a 1 minute thing. That's the idea. You're meant to think on the spot. Yeah, Fadibilo?
Okay. If I'm like placing my mat on a table Does that actually make my table? I mean, does that actually make my mat a table mat?
Table mats. I like that. I like that. Okay, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Next. Okay, so do we have any other person volunteering?
Wasi is
Okay, so the rain is falling outside. The rain is falling. Then I have a, I have, I, I have a bow. Does that make it a rainbow?
Rainbow, nice one. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Okay. Okay. So who else? Who else doesn't want to leave us?
Wasi
Please
has
can you tell us
Okay.
the people?
Okay.
Once
Okay.
you
If
jump
you
in,
have,
okay, go ahead. Please just mute yourself
oh,
once you've unmuted. Yeah. So we can hear
okay.
everyone.
If you have air in the room and then you have a window plane, is that an airplane?
Oh, nice. Don't don't leave us. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. Nice. Thanks. We need some more motivation. Who else? Who else has some nice creativity there?
Okay, I think I have something.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I like warming my way through books. Does that make me a bookworm?
Say it again. Wait. Could you say it again? Sorry, I didn't get that.
I like warming my way through books. Does that make me a bookworm?
Oh no, man. That is a killer, man. That's a killer. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. Who else? Who else is going? Any other person?
Um, uh,
Elijah?
in my garden.
Elijah, we can barely hear you. Are you
Yeah,
speaking?
I was trying to say I have some eggs in my garden. Does that make
Great.
it a garden egg?
Got it.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, I love that. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. Who's going next?
Hi.
Hi, Abdullah. Hello.
Yes. Okay, I want to try.
Great. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a key to come on board. Does that make me a keyboard?
All right, man. All right. Thank you very much. I love that. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Next. Who else? Wasiu, I'm waiting for you. Wasiu is the wise one. Wasiu, go ahead.
I think I'm going to pass now, please.
Okay. All right. So that's brilliant. I think so I like the fact that we're able to on the spot come up with ideas, right? And that is so amazing. I like the fact that people are able to think and just come up with things. Now, this thing was a trend all over the the social media, the internet, and at some point people felt it was just something to play with. But the truth of the matter was it was about just being creative and coming up with stuff that makes sense, makes you want to, of course, basically either slap them or beat them up or cry or laugh, because some of the ideas they come up with could be crazy ideas. But the fact is that most times when people come up with things like this, it's about creativity. And why is this important for us as young people? It's because one of the greatest ways we can ever be relevant in today's world, right, is by leveraging on our creativity. And I felt that when we are thinking about ourselves as young people, we shouldn't be thinking about any other thing other than creativity. So I felt like maybe you should know a little about me, right, and know how my journey has been, so that way we can now begin to position ourselves for some of the conversations we'll have today. So again, my name, as you know, is Fidelis, but more importantly, this is what I do. I'm a leadership development practitioner. I'm a youth development and disability inclusion activist. But one of the core things I do is basically to design and to deploy high impact solutions to youth problems. Now, when you want to reinvent yourself into this world, right, you are not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how best to serve other people. So for me as a young person, right, growing up as a young person, I've always been very passionate about personal leadership, about self-development, about improving myself, improving the outcomes of my life, going after what I think is best and desirable. And so I realized that currently I really do not have any other choice but to be of service to other people, to be of unique importance to people, to be relevant to people. But you see, the question of leadership itself is a very broad thing. And sometimes people mistake it for several things. Sometimes I feel like, it's because we overemphasize on the idea of leadership. That's why probably we have, all sorts of ideas around it. But I had to take up specifically the idea of leadership from the angle of problem solving. So if we are not reinventing ourselves in the art of solving problems for ourselves and for people, for organizations, for communities, for societies, for families, for individuals, then we are not anywhere close to the concept of leadership. And I felt that this is one thing that is missing in today's conversation. People talk about leadership as per taking up of office, leadership as per, helping people with maybe ideas, leadership. So I think that a lot of people have missed the whole concept and idea of leadership as an art of solving problems. Now, there are many concepts to it. There's compassion, there's service, there is, unity, there's help, there's so many things about it. But if you take away the component of problem solving, the idea of leadership is defeated. So I found myself consistently always being in environments where there are problems. I feel like if you're in Nigeria today, I would just say that you were literally born into problems. And I know people don't like to hear that, but the truth of the matter is that we as Nigerians, because of the circumstances surrounding the environment and sometimes, the problem of the rulers and governance, a lot of us were born into problems. Now, the beauty about that is it is in moments like this that we have to recreate ourselves to become solutionnaires. So throughout my life, I have always been engaging in solving youth problems, community development problems. I'll find myself volunteering with youth organizations. I'll find myself deploying my skills, expertise, and knowledge around young people. I went to a school where it was all about young people. I didn't know when. I was just there. I was doing my thing, and all of a sudden, people said, "Fidelis, you're going to be our class rep or our class captain." And this was literally in secondary school. And when I was in secondary school, it was more like, if you are not going to be the class rep, nobody's going to do it. So I had to force myself into that for that particular role. Was simply because I was always being of help to people in whichever way I found easy to do. So what I did in school then was I would go early in the morning. I formed a youth club where early in the morning, prior to the assembly, we would go and read at least 30 minutes before assembly. Then after school, we would stay after school, to read for another 2 or 3 hours. Now, the goal for me was to create a generation of young people that would not just be academically successful, but that will be game changers. Now, I went to both private school and to a public school. So in my private setting, I had some very good training, some very good education. But when I decamped, to the public setting, it was a different game entirely. Results were low, academic outcomes were very low. Teachers' delivery was terribly poor. And I know I see a couple of teachers here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The system and the infrastructure isn't the best. So the odds were, the environment itself was very, very daunting. And I realized that it is exactly in this kind of environment that I have to do what I got to do to distinguish myself. So I started thinking about how best to solve that problem of lack of success in academics. I wasn't very good either. By the way, I decamped from the sciences to the arts. And I didn't decamp because I wanted to. It was simply because I never found myself very successful within the sciences. So I decamped to the art class. But when I got there, I began to find my kind of thing. I loved courses like English, like government, like economics. And economics wasn't really my thing, but things like literature, things like history, these were things that really attuned to me. So I realized that, and there is this whole taboo that if you're in the sciences, you're likely going to be more successful than arts students. I know some of us know what this is, especially for those in this part of the world. The truth of the matter is that I wanted to change the game, right? I wanted to redefine things. So what I did was I said I was going to start a new wave of young people, however small. We're just 5 in that club. So we started reading ahead of sometimes the syllabus. And after school, we would still stay in school to read. We would go for lessons and everything. I wanted to tell the school that, see, those in the art class can also be extremely successful. So what I did was I started that club. And by the time we were in SS2, we wrote what we call the NECO GC. It's like the exam before the main exam that you write at your finals. So you could write it outside of school. And I remember I had like 5 papers with, I had all my papers. I had just 5 papers then, but I had maths and English. I had government. I had literature. I had 5 papers basically that could, basically launch me into university if I had taken JAM that period. But I didn't use that result. I took it to my supervisor. I took it to the principal and said, I am from the art class. And I know that there have been so many things said about people in the art class, but this is my result as an SS2 student. And, the principal was like, this is not possible that you Parishe. Okay, so Parishe is like you literally cheated or you did some fraudulent things to get this result. That it's not possible that anyone in the art class, especially at SS2, senior secondary school 2, could ever have such a result. And I said, okay, that's fine. Let's wait till SS3, which is the finals, and we're going to write the West African senior secondary school certificate examination. So we waited till then, and by then, to be very sincere with you, I was on a mission. My job was just basically to break the records. So I had 7 papers at a stretch after that exam, which of course led me to write JAM. And I didn't get to write JAM twice. Most of us in that clique, Harry, John, Mayowa, Lanre, a couple of them, every one of them had their papers. And we took it to the principal and said, even if I cheated, all these people cannot cheat. I mean, it doesn't make sense that we had a mass cheating. So that was when the school realized that it has never been the fault of the students. It has always been the fault of the mindsets that the teachers believed and had about the students. And that was why they didn't have, and they've not been having the best learning outcome. So our set broke the record. So afterwards, they realized that student performance can actually happen. So that was the beginning of basically my impact in, at the teenage level. After that, I got scholarship to go to University of Ibadan. I studied philosophy. When I got in there again, without wanting to, I found myself in a place of position. People came and said, Fidelis, man, you're such a resourceful person. We think you should be the class rep for our class. And I was like, why are these things always coming to me? I don't need to have this around me, but they keep coming, man. So what I did was I said, fine, I'm going to take it up. And as soon as I did, it always kept me motivated. It kept me very, very ignited. And I enjoyed really serving people and solving people's problems. People will call me academic problems. Sometimes I might not have the answer. I refer them to people who have the answer. People will come to me saying, Fidelis, man, this course philosophy is crazy. I don't know how you're coping, but I'm not getting it. I would organize tutorials for people. So I find myself always trying to solve problems, even without wanting to. But that in itself was what now began to give me a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, a sense of service, especially towards the career path that I've taken. Quickly, I finished my university, finished as one of the best in the class, had many leadership awards, and of course, went ahead to do my master's, finished my master's. So by the time I was done with my master's, I found a youth nonprofit that was basically empowering disadvantaged youth, and basically in recent time, youth with disabilities. We're providing mentoring, support, leadership capacity development, what's it called? We'll connect them to resources, provide scholarship opportunities for them, do trainings, different workshops in different youth groups and youth centers. And trust me, it was such a powerful thing to do. We're basically interested in building the leadership of people. So by the time I did it for like 4 years with my team of volunteers, we started, having the opportunity to apply for international opportunities. And of course, I got into a couple. But I don't want to begin to, put it in our face here, but I want to tell you that I've enjoyed a lot of opportunity as a young person. But everything boils down to one thing. I was consistently interested in solving people's problems. Now, the mindset of a young leader is the contributive mindset. I need us to know that. The mindset of a young leader is the contributive mindset. This is against the backdrop of what we have today. We live in a world where everybody wants to consume and consume and consume. And you see, to be sincere with you, yeah, I see you, Dr. Regis, I said that, to be sincere with you, anybody who really wants to be relevant today, it is not about how much you consume. It is not about how much you take. It is about how much you give. Guys, friends, let us think about anybody who has been relevant today. they were not consumerists. They were productive members of the society. I want to emphasize that they were productive members of the society. When you think about us today, the young generation especially, everybody is consuming. And by consumerism, this is what I mean. You are always wanting to be served, right? You want to take all the knowledge. You want to read all the books. You want to consume everything. You know, you are just taking in. When it comes to maybe gatherings, you're the first to take the back seat. When it comes to, social networks, you're not the first to show up. The mindset is terrible. And I feel like it is not, I won't say it's anybody's fault. It is just the way we have been built. We have never been built to be productive. We have been built to be consuming. And that is why I said the difference between a follower and a leader is that a leader is consistently thinking about ways to creatively contribute to the benefit and to the development of other people. A leader is basically, and when I mean a leader now, I'm talking about a person who is interested in solving the problems of people. He is interested in empowering people. So because he wants to empower people, he thinks about what the problems of people are. He can't empower people if he doesn't know their problem. So he thinks about empowering them. He thinks about inspiring them. He thinks about leading change. He thinks about sharing his vision with them. So if you see everything here, anyone who is a leader is always thinking about the other person, the other person, the other person. I know that there is a place for personal leadership, yeah? But one of the greatest way you can know that somebody is dedicated to serving others is when they're investing so much time thinking about the greatest problems of the world. Things like unemployment, things like poverty, things like things like bad healthcare, bad governance, right? So I want us to approach this conversation from the mindset of people who are ready to contribute in whatever way that you can. I realize that people are only forced to contribute when it's affecting their survival. And that is not good. You don't have to wait. You don't have to get to the rock bottom before you can contribute, So I believe, right, that I think it was one of those great quotes. This was just in my head today, and I said, your aspiration should never be to be the wealthiest person on earth. Maybe that's fine if you want to, but your aspiration should be that you would be a person of value. You would be a person of value. Now, there are many ways to be of value to people. You can be a value, there are different spectrum. You can be of value in relationships, depending on what you bring to the table. You can be of value in academics, depending on how well you're able to use your knowledge to help people. You can be of value in the international development space, depending on how well you're ready to solve, international global problems. You can be of value to people in friendships, depending on how well you are helping people to become better versions of themselves. You can be of value to the world, depending on how well you are able to help the world in solving its problems. So do not aspire to be rich, because that will come naturally when you are of great value to people and to the society. Aspire only to be of great value. Therefore, you are as valuable as the problems you solve, period. If you want to know your value right now, you are only as valuable as the problems you're solving. Okay? I don't know if you need to write that down or if you want to think through that. The reason why you are still where you are today, and I'm not saying where you are is a very bad place, right? But the reason why you probably still need to move ahead in your career, your personal life, in your relationship, in your job, whatever it is because the value you are bringing either to the workplace, either to your peers, either to your friends, either to your work is not commensurate to the problems that you're solving. In other words, you are only as valuable as the problems you are able to solve for people. And by the way, you can't solve people's problems if you do not know them. You can't solve society's problems if you do not know what the problems are. You can't even solve your personal problems if you're, oblivious of what the problem is. So I said, problem solving is, for me, the most important hallmark, the most important ingredients of anybody who is thinking of taking up a leadership position anytime, anywhere, any day. And this is because, and maybe we should begin to, let me paint a picture for us. Sometimes we think about, John Maxwell talked about the 360-degree leader, right? He said you can lead from below, you can lead your peers, or you can lead above. What he means by that is, where you're positioned right now, even if you're the last one in the family, you might actually be a leader by helping your siblings, your elder siblings, solve some of their problems. You can be helping your peers solve some of their problems, or you can be helping a junior person solve their problems. You can either be empowering people by solving their problems, inspiring them by solving their problems, sharing your vision with them by solving their problems. So think about problem solving as one of the most important ingredients to truly be relevant into today's world. And I'm going somewhere because the goal for us is to see how we can key into international development opportunities, you know. And I have seen so many of my friends, I have a lot of network of people who are so relevant today. But one unique thing that spans across all these people is that all of these people are solving problems in their small ecosystem, in their small units, in their small places. Now, let's also take a look at this. This is another trivia, and I'm still going to open the floor for us. So, Grace, please permit me to please call out people, or if people are interested, to let them volunteer. So, I said here that leaders are known for the problems they solve, right? Okay, so I want somebody to tell me who the first person, and this is deliberate. I deliberately decided, not to name anybody here because I wanted us to know there's something I'm trying to drive at. So the right woman there, who is she? Anyone who wants to volunteer?
Helen.
Anyone?
Helen Keller.
Yes, I think we lost you. Okay,
she was saying Helen Keller.
Hello, Beyonce. Helen Keller, very good. Very good. Very good. Yes, that's Helen Keller. Okay, so I know Beyonce would definitely know Helen Keller because yes, I heard that, Helen Keller. So if you're not able to say it, you can also type it. That's fine. So we are coming to the next person. So who is the next presentation? It's about the top. Anyone? Helen Keller. So we're to the next man. Anyone have an idea who the next person is after Helen Keller? Okay. So I'm surprised we don't know who that person is, but that is Martin Luther. All right, hello.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Did you just lose me or I lost you? Who left?
I think the network just fluctuated somewhere.
Oh, okay. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so let me do this again. Okay, so, all right. So we're right here. And so the next person, which I said is Martin Luther, right? So the third person, the top right person, do we have an idea of who that person is?
Nelson Mandela.
Great, Nelson Mandela, okay. And the fourth person, the fourth lady by the left, lower left.
Amanda.
Chimamanda, great. And then the fifth person by the center.
Gandhi.
Gandhi, yeah.
Yeah. Sasima Ganja, is that, did I hear Sasima Ganja? Okay.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, the final person on that screen, does anybody have an idea who that person is?
Oh, Grace Akinshola.
Grace Akishala. Great. Very good. Now, I'm happy that we're able to recognize these faces, but one, this is the tricky part. Can we name just one thing that when you hear these people's name, what comes to mind? So, Beyonce, Helen Keller, what comes to mind when you hear Helen Keller? What comes to mind? Do you mind just
She was the first deaf
saying it
and
aloud,
blind
if you can, or you can type it?
in America.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so she was the first deaf and blind advocate. Yeah, that's like the long thing. But there is just one thing that you can say she represents, Beyonce.
She created the most amazing songs that we all sing in churches today.
Wow, I never knew that. Okay, that's a great revelation. Anyway, Helen Keller is basically a disability advocate, right? She's a, when you see Helen Keller, Luther, anybody just one word, one thing he stood for.
Racism.
All of them were problem solvers.
Yeah, they were all problem solvers, but they had specific things, and those specific things that I'm going to. So Martin Luther was known for what? What was the thing that made him so popular that even to today is still so much celebrated?
I think
Racism.
it's civil rights movement.
Civil rights, very good.
Yeah.
I love that. Civil rights, very good. So let's go to Nelson Mandela. One word, one cause, one problem he's known for.
Apartheid.
Apartheid, very good. I like that. Chimamanda Adichie, one word.
Female advocates.
Yeah, very good.
Gender.
Feminism.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Mahatma Gandhi, one word.
He's a peace advocate too.
Peace. Excellent. Peace. I love that. Just one word, peace.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm hearing many things. But he was basically a peace advocate, right? And we're going to Grace. One thing, I feel like Grace has many things she studied for, but one thing that you think Grace stands for?
She's solving the problem of ignorance.
That is a lot.
Okay.
I think it's skills. She's trying to create a bridge. Bridge in the gap we have in skills.
Great. Okay. Any other ideas? All right.
I think leverage.
Okay. Now,
Youth empowerment.
Great. I'll take it up from there. If you don't mind, we can all mute so that we can hear each other. The only reason why I had to point out these people to you, and this is the point of this, right? You will only be recognized for the problems you solved when you die. Your name may never be remembered if you have not solved problems for people. Now, it's easy to say Helen Keller is a disability rights advocate. Martin Luther is a civil rights movement advocate. Nelson Mandela fought for the racial justice in South Africa, which is basically apartheid. Chimamanda is promoting women empowerment and African feminism. Mahatma Gandhi promoted peaceful violence, basically non-violent. Sorry, that's the way he said. Anyway, he promoted peace, basically. And, excuse me, Grace is a teacher. I don't know why everybody missed that, She is a teacher. And a teacher could mean many things. It could come in form of skill development, knowledge development, whatever it is. But the point is, when we all leave, right, what are we going to be remembered for? Are we going to be remembered for the smiles we put on people's face, for the inspiration we brought to people, for the problems we solved, for the hunger challenges that we took care of, for the young person that we mentored, for the injustice in society that we helped to solve? What exactly can we be remembered for? You see, all of these people, especially for the ones that are dead, you don't hear things like late Helen Keller. You don't hear late Martin Luther King. You don't hear late Nelson Mandela. You hear Nelson Mandela. You hear Martin Luther, because these people are still alive because of the problems they solve, even though they are physically gone. Now, how do you solve problems? You know, basically, I think oftentimes we forget the importance of, you know, problem solving. And that's why I feel like for so many of us, we have not been thinking deeply about this. We want to run away from problems. But I think that the most important thing that will make you relevant today, successful and highly valuable in any ecosystem you find yourself, is ability to solve problems for people. So I came about the PSVW model. Friends, you need problems in order to design new solutions. For you to have great solutions, you need problems. Now, because you need problems to design solution, the most important element in that first box is what? Any volunteer? Okay, anyway. Say it again.
Can you just repeat the question?
Oh, I just said that in the first box, right? We have like two boxes with you know, two pairs of items. The first one has problems and solutions. The other box has value and wealth. And I said that for you to have solutions, you need problems. So I'm asking now, between problems and solutions, which is the most important from these two elements?
I guess problem.
Sorry? Problems. Okay. Problems. Very good. Very good. Exactly. So the answer, the answer is problems are problems are the most important things when it comes to anything in life. Now let us go about with this journey. From problems, you get solution. From solution, you create value. It's a chain, right? And when you have so much value, you create wealth. When you create so much value, you create so much wealth. Problems lead to solutions. Solutions lead to value. Value lead to wealth. Read the life of anybody who has ever been great today in terms of wealth, in terms of, you know, impact, in terms of purpose, in terms of greatness. They were people who understood this model. Excuse me. And therefore, anybody who is thinking about being relevant today, especially within the international space or the global space, you have to start thinking about the problems you're solving. So the question, therefore, is what problems are you solving? And by the way, I want us to be clear about this, right? Your problems are connected to your greatest pain in life. And your greatest pain, within that pain, is your purpose. And inside that purpose is where you will find your prosperity. Therefore, don't get it twisted, right? For you to really be relevant today, you have to think about your greatest pain, because your greatest pain will be connected to the problems that you will solve in your life and in the life of others. If you had a problem as a young person or whatever it is, right? Whatever your greatest pain is, right? There are at least 1,000,001 person who has that same problem you had. Your job is to train people, help people, inspire people on how you solved your problem. Then you create value for them. You create a business out of that problem. You create a solution out of that problem. And Because you are solving people's pain points, they will pay you for it, at least for those who are looking for money. So I think we've gotten it all wrong, right? Leadership is not just showing up. It is part of it, right? But it's actually showing up in the relevant space. So many people show up in many spaces that are not theirs. You're solving a problem of unemployment. Did you ever have unemployment problem as a young person? No, you were always rich. You were always happy, right? You would do some good, but you would not have so much impact because you're not coming from a place of pain. You're solving the problem of good governance, right? In an economy that is working perfectly for everybody. It will be very difficult for you to connect with the people you're serving because you're not coming from their place of pain. And their place of pain has to be your place of pain. So it's fine to solve problems, right? But the problem has to be strategic. It has to be connected to your particular pain point. When you are able to find exactly your greatest pain in life and you are able to overcome it, that becomes your greatest treasure. In my case, I had serious lack of access to resources. And as a young person, when you have such, you will have self-esteem issues. You will have to hustle for your life. So all of those things, particularly for me, it wasn't just economic, right? I was on consistent drive to honestly know myself so that I can be useful, because I knew that if I had a good knowledge of myself and I built myself and I invested in human capital development or personal development, I will be relevant to the people I serve. So all I was always doing was investing in myself. I will read a lot. I will go to places and spaces where I would get to know more about myself. I would get to environments where I would get to learn a lot about myself. Now, that was my personal problem. I was always feeling like I needed to know so much more about myself. And it's a lifelong journey, by the way, right? But there comes a time you would have become so self-aware about some things. And the people you will be working with, right, would know that you are aware about those things and they will be relevant. They will need your services. They will need your help. They will need your support. So the question is, what problems are you solving? Now, I had to give us a preamble into that to launch us into the idea of global opportunities. Now, you cannot have access to global opportunities if you're not solving problems for people. So the first thing I would ask us to do right now, one strategic thing to do right now, is go and read about the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. The SDGs has 17 goals, right? You would see at least one that is connected to a particular pain point that you have. And by the way, when I mean pain points, I know if we begin to talk about this, it might take us a whole day, right? But a pain point is, you might have had many problems in life, but the greatest of the pains is the one you should focus on. The greatest of the pain should be what you would be focusing on. Because in that space, in that place of vulnerability is where you are able to be useful to yourself and to people. People do not understand that to access global opportunities, you have to be a person of value. And to be a person of value, you must be coming from a place of pain. I'm not saying you should be crying. What I'm saying is you have identified your specific struggle. You have designed specific solutions to that particular problem. You have created value. Now, when you now apply to be part of something, you are coming with a full package. You are not coming as a beggar. You are coming as somebody who is contributive. So people are solving many problems, but they're not being specific and strategic. If you definitely had as a child or as a young person, or even now, if you have problems of inferiority complex, you should be solving problems around esteem issues, right? Helping people find confidence, building people's capacity to believe in themselves, creating content around belief, creating books that tells people how to build their confidence, going around to talk about confidence, right? If you face problems around unemployment, and I think a lot of people face that, right? By unemployment, I don't define unemployment as lack of job, right? I mean unemployment as the inability to produce. All right. So because you're not able to produce, what is that thing stopping you? Then you need to build capacity. You need to acquire the necessary skill set. You need to acquire the necessary resource to help you do what you got to do. All right. So to access global opportunities, you have to understand the problem you're solving. As I said, go read about the SDGs. You will find many there, and you can pick the one that aligns more with you. You have to think about the value you are bringing to the community of people that you want to be part of. Then, the power of your story. You are not able to tell a very good story unless you're coming from a place of pain. You're talking about the problems you're solving. You are designing solutions. You are creating value. These three key things, trust me, have worked for many people. This particular thing I just said is a whole masterclass, but for the sake of time, let me rush it. Now, what are the benefits of accessing global opportunities? The first is that you will shame your village people. I'm kidding. Now, I'm not saying that you will not in any way, because a lot of people want to be successful to make other people feel bad, or basically to show that I am successful. Trust me, when you're successful, you do not need to loud it. Success is like a lamp. You cannot hide it. All right? So one of my friends said one of the reasons why he wants to, travel abroad, go to the US and become part of it is because he wants to show and tell his people that he did it without them. And I'm like, the whole aim has been defeated. It's been defeated totally. You cannot try to be part of an international community when you're coming from the perspective of it is me against them. The intent is defeated. But what I mean by this is you will definitely be a person of great respect amongst people that matter. All right. The next is the fact that you would have access to professional development. Professional development means you have the skill sets, the tools, the resources, the opportunities to become the best at what you're already doing. Maybe you're a teacher, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a banker, whether you're a non-profit practitioner, whether you are a teacher, whether you are an author, whatever it is you're doing, you will find the best practices in that specific area that you'll find yourself. You'll have a change in perspectives, right? You will have ability to, your thinking will change when you have access to international opportunities. And by the way, maybe I failed to mention this, right? I just, had a program in the United States, and trust me, it was a 15-month program for me. It's called the Atlas Core Fellowship, right? I was part of the British community. I've been on Tony Lily Foundation, and trust me, I know what it does. It changes your mindset. Do you mind muting your mic?
I read them online. But it's the truth. Look, it's in that, and not true. People don't be advocate for that thing since.
Grace, do you mind muting Ochada? Okay, great. Thank you. Are we back?
Yeah, back. Please proceed.
Okay, great. So the third benefit is the fact that you have a change in perspective. And that's why I feel like everybody here should begin to think of how best they can leverage. Because right now we live in a global environment, we live in a global village, and your relevance locally can be a solution to somebody in another part of the world. You see, we are not in Nigeria. We should stop thinking about Nigeria. We should stop thinking about, Cambodia or Guinea, or it is not about the space. It's about the problems you're solving that is connected to the global environment. If you have a problem of unemployment in Nigeria, there are thousands of people who are unemployed and need skill development. If you have a problem of something as simple as, poor education, it's not just in Nigeria, it's in all aspects of the world. So when you think about having access to global opportunities, you're thinking about solving global problems. And that is where you're changing the game. The next is you build a powerful network. And by network, I mean the group of people that are useful to the kind of problems you're solving in the world. Not just a network of, I have Dangote's number, I have Buhari's number, I have Mahatma Gandhi's number, I have Martin Luther. What do you do with all of that when there is no use to that for you? You have a lot of people's resources, a lot of cards, and they're not useful to you. The network that you're meant to build are your powerhouse. When you access them, it can help you increase the impact of your business. increase your revenue or increase the skill of the work that you do. All right. So the benefits of accessing global opportunities is that you have an access to a powerful network of people that are connected to the specific problems that you are solving. Next, you learn a new culture. Definitely, there's cultural diversity in the world today. In Nigeria alone, they say we have just 3 tribes, right? No, 3 ethnic groups, right? But the truth of the matter is that we have multifaceted and multifarious cultures. Now, if we are this much and we've not been able to explore ourselves as much as we should, imagine what it feels like when you have to travel out. You know, in the US, trust me, the US is so diverse. There are so many cultures there. It's not just the white people. The only thing is that there's an umbrella that covers people, right? So I want you to think about the opportunity that comes from you having an exposure to other people's culture when you think about, accessing all these opportunities. International jobs, you have access to that when you are leveraging and thinking about what problems you're solving. I repeat, the problems you solve will land you the kind of jobs that you're looking for. And finally, you see the world from a different landscape. Someone said, if you have many education in the world and you've not traveled, your education is incomplete, all right? So it's good to start thinking about start thinking about accessing international opportunities, not just to travel. I feel like people mistake having global opportunities to traveling out. When you travel out and you are going without purpose, you will be very, very sad, all right? If you're traveling to America, to Europe, or to any, as it were, first world country for opportunities, and you're not going from a place of solid substance, you will be a liability and not a person of value, all right? So the greatest key right now to really accessing opportunities right now is coming from a place of value. So today, as I'm speaking to you right now, from September till December, there are thousands of applications, thousands of opportunities right now on the internet. This is the season. In the US, it's called, this is fall right now, right? From now to December, it is not just a US thing. In Europe, in any part of the world right now, there are a lot of international opportunities. This is your time to key into these opportunities. Do not forget, when you want to start applying for these opportunities, whether as a teacher, whether as a content developer, as a brand expert, as a disability inclusion advocate, as a capacity builder, as a youth mentor, as a digital marketer, whatever it is you're doing right now, you have to come from a place of problem solving, creating value, and from there you can launch into those opportunities. In fact, when you know what you're doing, you can easily see the applications or the opportunities that are good for you and the ones that are not. So this is the season. International opportunities come in different forms. They come in form of fellowships, and exchange programs. In my case, I was part of the Atlas Core Fellowship, a 12 to 18-month fellowship in the US where you have access to international development opportunities. I had access to, I was, as it were, I had the privilege of working with the Obama Foundation. And by the way, I got to meet the president, right? I shook his hands. He has very soft hands, by the way. And he's tall, he's like 6'1", right? And it was a mind-blowing experience. I posted something about my short experience and my gratitude on my LinkedIn page. I wrote it as an article there, right? It was a great experience. There was a lot of drilling, a lot of training, a lot of capacity development. And trust me, it was mind-blowing. That is what happens when you access these things. But I didn't go because I was searching. I was already solving. For the past 7 years in Nigeria, I've been executing high-impact youth development programs, right? So that is what made me become extremely valuable both to Atlas Core and to the Obama Foundation. Today, they're always calling me for things. They want me to be part of this. They want me to be, because I am an asset and not a liability. So when you have access to some of these opportunities, right, you will go. But the truth is, when you go, of what relevance would you be? Another thing, another form of opportunity, international opportunities, international business and investments. There are lots of people right now that are now investing in international businesses. There are a lot of businesses everywhere. Trust me, if you're a business person, do not just think about what your products can do in Nigeria, in UK. Think about what your products can do in the world. Thank God for the digital space, all right? Your products can go everywhere.